Hi, everybody. I just wanted to have a quick chit chat with you. Why did I decided to take the COVID-19 Pfizer mRNA vaccines? I have to be honest with you. At my institution, the hospital, people were divided. Whether physicians, nurses, everybody, there was this debate about whether should I take it now, should I wait and see the effect on others, and whether I'm not going to receive it at all. And I think our institution did a quick survey and found that 40% will take it right away as soon as it's available, and 40% said they want to wait, and 20% they said no. So you see that division. But I just want to share my personal experience, why I was pretty comfortable. And I did not have any hesitation from the moment they said, who wants to get the vaccine? I said, I will be first in the line. Again, there is this sense, a lot of people I talked who were hesitant to take it or did not want to take, said, oh, this was rushed. And of course, if you see the pace of producing this vaccine compared to the other vaccines in the past, of course, you're going to say, or like the drug, process, having a drugs from the scratch until it's in the market takes years, right? Of course, you're going to feel this is rushed. But if you really look and read, you see there is a reason why it was produced in such a fast pace and short period of time. Remember, this genetic vaccine, they call them genetic vaccines, this mRNA vaccine. I'm sure there's a lot of video explain to you what's genetic vaccines. Basically, instead of injecting the virus itself or weakened form or inactive form of the virus, or instead of injecting a certain particle of the virus into our bodies, we decide to get a sequence of, let's say in COVID-19, this spike protein, right? They got because the sequence of the COVID-19 virus was available very early on in the course of this disease. So they got the sequence of that one from the genome of COVID-19 virus. And then they created a messenger mRNA. They made some modification and they injected that into our cells. And, our cells, machinery ribosome, produced the spike protein. So instead of receiving the spike protein, the real spike protein from the virus, our body produces spike protein, and then we produce immunity against. That's just quickly what genetic vaccines. I just want to focus on rush. So the company in Pfizer and Moderna, they built on a technology was used in 20 years ago, probably, and when the first SARS-CoV-1, and then they actually tried to use it again with MERS. As you know, that was in Saudi Arabia, I think 8 or 10 years ago, something like that. In those two viruses, they started the process of creating a vaccine, but that was halted because the virus was contained. So they did the preclinical. As you know, each drug goes through preclinical studies on animals to check for safety and the immune response, and then phase 1 on very few people to check safety, and then phase 2 in a larger number of people check efficacy and safety, and then on phase 3 where they check the endpoint and efficacy, and then goes to the market. And then phase 4 after post-marketing where they check for long-term effects. So the Pfizer and Moderna, they went through all these phases, but preclinical and phase 1 as well as phase 2 were rushed because they were already done in a very similar vaccine for SARS-CoV-1 and MERS. So they built on the information. So the technology of genetic vaccine was already known. How to do it was already known. On the SARS-CoV-1 and MERS also, they picked the spike protein. But again, they halted the production of the vaccine for SARS-CoV-1 and MERS because the virus was contained. So already we have information from these two vaccines back then, and simply Moderna and Pfizer built on that technology. So in that sense, was not really rushed. And remember, each phase monitored by the independent board review, and the FDA has to approve that you go from preclinical to phase 1, phase 2, etc. And there is really strict criteria that they have to pass to go into that. And there was big transparency. The studies was there. They did not hide anything. A lot of top scientists, actually, and I trust Dr. Fauci, for example. Just look at his credentials. Just Google it. And he's like, absolutely, he will not have any hesitation taking the vaccine, and he recommended it to everybody. Plus, The personal sense, I mean, I don't know if you guys, if you're taking care of COVID-19 patients, like you, especially if you have a family, you have kids, you have that fear, which is, I think normal, that when you go, despite all the gears, protective gears you have, and especially if some of your colleagues or staff gets infected and gets admitted to the hospital and on a ventilator, you have that fear that I could be that one, I could be next one. So that fear and anxiety of getting the virus despite everything, and then you may pass that virus to your wife, your close family contacts, you get the anxiety. So that's another motive for me that's why I was anxious to get this vaccine. And this really the main reason. I felt comfortable with the information available, the transparency. I didn't feel it was rushed. I didn't feel it's going to be any different from the side effects of other vaccines. So I felt really comfortable I should take the vaccine. And I feel more of my colleagues, when the vaccines start to become available, they decided to take it. Because again, I think that personal anxiety of getting the virus also is intense. Now it's at the end, are we going to have long-term side effects? Nobody knows. And so we'll see. And hopefully this will be as safe as previous vaccines. If everybody thought about the previous vaccine the same way we're going to think about, oh no, I'm going to wait and see, then these diseases will not be eradicated or contained. Again, one more thing, if your patient asks about the effectiveness, what do we mean by effectiveness? It means it prevents symptomatic disease or severe disease. So you may get the virus still, but you get very mild symptoms. So you will not get really severe symptoms, you will not get severe disease. So pneumonias and that stuff, you will not see it. That's what the effectiveness of the vaccine according to the studies. So that's very important. The other important thing, you still can be infected with the virus, which means you still can be contagious, because still the study didn't tell us if I'm still contagious now after receiving the virus or not. So you still need to wear the mask to protect others. So if you feel that you're protected, but you need to protect others as well, especially in the United States, it will take months to vaccinate, and the whole world to vaccinate a significant number of people. At least you need to vaccinate 50 to 60% of the population to see a real impact. And in US nowadays, just getting worse every day. So I want to conclude, yes, I recommend and highly recommend it to every one of you, healthcare workers especially, because I assume most of the viewers of my channel are healthcare workers. Whenever it's available, take it. And again, I'm talking about the Moderna and Pfizer vaccine. I really don't have information on the Chinese vaccine or the Russian vaccine or the AstraZeneca are still not approved. But these the vaccines that are approved by the FDA, approved in Canada, UK, and I think European Union very soon. And so a lot of advisory boards are approving that. So that just makes us feel better and better. Our role as healthcare providers, go and find this false information on Facebook and don't talk to healthcare workers. I need you, or we need all of us to start talking to regular people, use their language. We need to really encourage them and advocate for this. And if you don't take it yourself, how are you going to advocate for taking the vaccine? Because the first thing your patient will ask you, did you take it yourself? Are you going to take it yourself? And if you say no, of course, whatever you do, it's very hard to convince others. Like somebody who smokes trying to advocate for people to quit smoking. How are you going to advocate if they find you still smoking? The same principle. I'll try to make, I'm planning actually to make a video 7 days after my first shot, just to give you an update about any symptoms, side effects that I felt myself. And I'll try to do this weekly until I get the second shot, and weekly after that, just to give you that sense, because I'm pretty sure some of you will not get this vaccine. It depends which country you are in, until maybe a couple, 3 months from now. I hope all of you get the chance and opportunity to get this vaccine as soon as you can. And it's very important, because we are the first line in treating this virus. Hopefully the new year will be much happier year to all of us, and hopefully life will go back to normal. Hopefully, I expect this will be very close back to normal, maybe next holidays, like at the end of next year, 2021. And hopefully summer of 2021 will be a much happier summer to all of you. Happy New Year, everybody.